Hi, my name is Daisy Landeros. I am an academic success coach at the Academic Success Center at UNLV, and today I'm going to be giving you a quick presentation on academic success in a virtual environment. So to get started, a quick overview of what I'm going to be discussing today. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the coaches. I'm going to be talking about time management, personalization, goals, and both remote and ASC resources. So to get started with introductions, all of our coaches are UNLV graduate students pursuing either a master's degree or a PhD in their respective fields. And as students, coaches provide a unique peer-to-peer experience. So what that looks like is in our coaching meetings, we like to focus on strategies for success. And these are soft skills such as time management, goal setting, test-taking strategies, finding balance, utilizing resources, study skills, fostering motivation, avoiding procrastination, which one of our biggest two, networking, and building rapport with professors and peers. So today we're going to specifically talk about time management in a virtual learning environment. So with time management, it's first important to note that time management is a skill. It requires time and work, and it's different for everyone. So you want to find a system that works for you. Whether that is a daily to-do list, a weekly schedule, a digital planner, or maybe a combination of the two, really finding what you are more guided to. Also, check how your classes are being taught, whether it is an online or a remote course, and knowing the difference between the two. So with online classes, these are classes that were always meant to be online, and they carry that technology fee, versus remote courses that were meant to be in person, but due to COVID are now transitioned to a non-face-to-face way. And with remote courses, they do not carry that technology fee, and they also sometimes require students to log into that class at a specific time. You also want to know if your class is a pre-recorded lecture or a live lecture. With pre-recorded lectures, you could go ahead and look at the lecture as many times as you want, and with live lectures, you might have to log in at a specific time in order to see it. So it's important to know which one of the two your professor is doing. You also want to mark any virtual office hours or study sessions that your class is having. And with study sessions, you want to create a weekly study schedule. This is personal, and you want to keep it consistent. This is where that time block schedule that we have here that we like to work with students on will come in handy. So these are the times that you put in your class, the times that you have work or any other commitments, and the times that you have available to study. You want to treat your pre-recorded lectures like you would in-class sections. That way you're already primed every day to do that work at that time. So with online classes, they might require more work or more assignments, and that's where an online checklist would really come in handy as well. You want to ask yourself, have I written down all the information I need for my online and remote classes? And if you haven't, you might want to check out this tool. This tool has where you could check out, where you could put your class, the class weekly expectation, whether that is a summary or discussion post due every week, upcoming major assignments like papers or projects, tools and resources needed like e-textbooks or WebEx, and the best way to contact your instructor. It's really important to check in daily on your remote and online classes, since some things might be changed recently or added and you might not get that notification. And you also want to look ahead, as assignments can come really quickly, especially in the summer where it's very condensed and very fast paced. So moving on to personalization, and what that means is finding a system that works really for you. That could look like a study environment, and you really want to dedicate a study spot to prime your brain, so that way it would be easier to focus, retain information, and avoid multitasking. You want to be aware of any personal distractions that you might have. That might include pets, your phone especially, family, TV. All of these things are really important to know, that way you could create a space that is free of that. Other ideal study space characteristics are organization. You want to have a space that is organized and sometimes, clean, ready to do work. You want to have, like I said, minimal distractions. Have the adequate supplies that you need. And lighting. Studies show that natural lighting often increases productivity, and also body posture, whether that is sitting upright, sitting at a very comfortable desk, or chair desk. All of those things will come into play. You might not want to be in your bed, as that can often lead to falling asleep or just not feeling like you're ready to do work. You want to make the best out of the space you have and be creative. It doesn't have to be a super mundane place, but it could be somewhere where you add that personalization touch to it. So you also want to ask yourself, how do you learn best? There's different learning styles, and there's no one right way to learn and there's no wrong way to learn either. All of these are different learning styles that include being a visual learner, a verbal learner, a logical, social, solitary, kinesthetic, a musical learner, and really staying in tune for which one appeals to you more. So what does that look like to you? And this could be subject dependent. If you're a visual learner, then you're more likely to, look at graphics, look at pictures, things like that. And you also want to know how you can adapt your learning style in a virtual environment. So for your class, if you are a visual learner, using flashcards, highlighters, things that will really grab your attention. And you also want to be aware of your productivity time. When do you feel the most productive? Is that during the day? Is that at night? Pay attention to those things. If you're not really a morning person, then maybe you need to start work a couple hours after in the afternoon. And then also a daily mental checklist. This is super important because if you are not at the mental capacity to do assignments, you're not going to be motivated for it. You want to keep track of how you're feeling. It's really important, especially during this virtual environment, because you have to motivate yourself to go onto the computer and to attend these classes. And you want to ask yourself, how am I feeling today? How is my diet? How am I sleeping? What is going on? And this doesn't have to be things that you write down specifically, but some things that you are aware of. And there's definitely resources available to you if you have a hard time kind of creating that mental checklist for yourself. There are virtual mental health resources like CAPS, Tau Connect. There's also the local community resource health center like the College of Education website. This is where this fantastic graphic came from. There's also exercises that you can do that UNLV, the Rec Center, is having and hosting for online resources that you could do yoga or other type of workouts. And you want to ask yourself, how is your self-care? And we're going to talk a little bit about self-care in this next slide. So essentially, self-care is a time that you take out of every day to help refresh yourself for the next week. And these are things that you like to do that are in your personal time. And it really helps with long-term solutions for stress, because college can be super stressful, especially if you have classes, work, family things going on. And sometimes you just need to schedule those times in your day to get your nails done, to go play soccer, to do something that you genuinely like to do. And you want to ask yourself, if you don't know what your self-care is, when do you feel the most relaxed? And what does that look like for me? And that's different for everyone. Reflect on that. What times are you having the most fun every day? You might want to journal that. And if you're just beginning to talk about or look at your self-care, just keep it simple, but try to keep it consistent. Try once a week, And if you don't know what those self-care things are or what they look like, this is a fantastic graphic that you could go ahead and look at, and you could look for your emotional wellness, your intellectual wellness, physical, social, spiritual wellness. And these are all ideas that can help you know what your self-care is. So another part of that, especially with self-care, is staying motivated. Like I said, with virtual environments, you really have to stay on top of, your own assignments and your own time to log into the class. So one of the things that you can do is recall your goals and the reason for attending college. Sometimes we kind of get lost on the mundane class after class, but visualize the outcome that you want after you graduate. Create realistic goals. And you want to reflect on the passion for your degree and your subject. And if you feel kind of in doubt of this type of passion, or curious about exploring something else, definitely talk to your academic advisor for this. It can definitely help you out. And with virtual learning, it doesn't have to just be straight off a textbook or a PowerPoint, but diversify the learning. Look at TED Talks, online videos, any other online resources that help you kind of get pumped for your class. You also want to make real-life connections to the material you are learning, whether that is in a history class, an English class, a math class. All of these things can be taken and applied to a real-life experience that will really help you out. And like I said, reward yourself, whether that is with your self-care. You want to aim for balancing school and life commitments. You want to, whether you schedule something at the end of the week after you had a really long study session, definitely do that for yourself. And stay positive for what you want, especially with online learning. So moving on to having some SMART goals. So SMART goals is an acronym, and it really helps break down normal goals that you would have into something really specific and concrete that you could help conquer to get to there. So for example, what's different from a SMART goal to a normal goal would be, I just want to pass all my classes, versus the example we're going to use in this is, I will at least get a B or higher in all of my courses. This is where the S in SMART comes from. It's specific. You ask yourself the 5 W's: who, what, where, which, and why. So you want to have it where you can track your progress as well. So that's something that's measurable. You want to measure something, with this class, it's every 2 weeks I will do a practice exam on chapters that I learned in this class. And also you want to have it attainable. That's the A. So do you have the required resources to reach this goal? Think back. Do you know when your study sessions are? Do you know when there's tutoring? Do you have the right technology for it, the right systems installed? Ask a coach, for an appointment if you need help with it. Also relevant. That's a R. Why is this goal important to you? For this is getting a B or higher will help my GPA and will help me get into graduate school. Versus a normal goal, which is I just want to pass all my classes. That might be relevant, but it's not so relevant in the actual goal that you want to proceed next. And timely. When do you want to achieve this goal by? Obviously, with this goal, you want to achieve it by the end of the semester. This will really help you keep track of your status and, what you're doing along the way to help reach that goal. Going further along with breaking up small goals, you really want to focus on a daily goal. So this has to do with making a daily to-do list that matches up with your overall goal, whether that is scheduling 2 hours every day with working on an assignment. You want to break up daily tasks and separating them by each course. And you want to add in any extra events that you have to do throughout that day. And with weekly goals, these are more bigger, tasks such as papers, exams, or projects. And you also want to reflect at the end of the week, how am I doing with my goal? Am I where I think I need to be with my sections? And lastly, with virtual tips, these are using apps to help track your goals. They're Strides, Way of Life, Goals on Track. All of these are fantastic tools to help you really stay on top of it. Also setting reminders or an alarm for your class or study times, even meetings that you need to go to. This will really help you stay accountable. So not all alarms are bad. You might want to help, they help you stay, like I said, on top of your things and on top of your responsibilities. And goals continued. Goals don't have to be just academic. Don't limit yourself. They could be in every aspect of your life, whether that is your personal life, career, social. Sometimes they just all intersect. And you want to reflect on your goals. You want to ask yourself, is this goal challenging me? If the goal seems too big and it's, so out of reach, maybe it's just too broad and you really need to narrow it down and try the SMART goals method. And then you want to ask yourself, how does your daily and weekly goals align with your overall goal? And lastly, you want to ask your ASE coach, if you have an ASE coach, to help you collaborate with you on your goals. If you're kind of stuck on, you don't know what your next step is, we can definitely help you out with working on your academic plan. And I always like to tell my students to try creating a vision board, maybe at the start of every semester, and keep it consistent. Try adding new things that you want to accomplish, that you get to. That doesn't have to be just a poster or on your planner or something. That could be on your phone, just a picture to remind you what you're working towards. So moving on to remote resources, you want to ask yourself if you know your resources. While many things might be closed or have limited capacity, many resources are still being offered online. And those resources could be the ASC Tutoring, ASC SI, the Writing Center, which is having online writing lab and virtual consultations, ASC Coaching, CAPS, like I mentioned before, Counseling and Psychological Center. They really help you work with you. They really work with you to set up a phone appointment, to talk about anything that's going on in your life. And Tao Connect, which are online modules that really help with self-care and mindfulness. There's Khan Academy and BrainFuse, which these are tutoring supplements. And with BrainFuse, it's also important to know that you do need a you need a Clark County Library account in order to access BrainFuse. And lastly, the UNLV library. And this is still available for databases, librarians, but all on an online setting. So lastly, you want to make sure you have the proper resources to participate in online and remote courses. Check if you have the correct internet browser or programs installed. If you did need a laptop or any type of assistance, OIT can definitely help you out with that. And lastly, with beneficial ASE resources specifically, we are free resources. We are included in your tuition. When it comes to tutoring, there's content-specific help, and this is all being offered through Zoom at specific times. It's super easy to get in touch with a tutor. There's supplemental instruction, which is group study sessions that are offered for specific classes and sessions. Sometimes the professor's way of teaching can be very difficult to understand, or sometimes you just need a new way of teaching. And these are students who have either taken the class or in the class that are offering SI sessions where you can go in and ask them as many questions as you want. There's also ASE coaching. So these are skills to apply to every class that are helping navigate through the college experience. And stay informed and connected. We are on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You could call or email to schedule an appointment. I really hope this was a helpful presentation, and I hope to see you at coaching. Bye-bye.